Hi there, I'm Mohit Sehgal on behalf of Linguistica7.com, and today we're discussing prepositions. Now, prepositions as a topic can often get a little tricky, especially for the ESL students who are studying English as their second language. The reason is that prepositions are mainly of three types. You've got prepositions of time, prepositions of place, and prepositions of movement. So while one preposition means something in a certain context, it means something entirely different in another, which is why learners find it difficult to get a firm handle on the topic. But today we're going to discuss certain methods and rules which are going to increase your comprehension on the subject and will ensure that you formulate sentences with prepositions with a lot of grammatical accuracy. Let's observe how. So here we are discussing prepositions of time. This is part one of this lecture. So you're going to be learning the absolute basic prepositions of time, which are at, on, and in. So as you can see that these three prepositions are those without which you just can't do, because you formulate every third sentence day in and day out in the English language using either of these prepositions. So how to ensure that you don't go wrong? Let's observe. So when I teach my students these three prepositions, I teach them using a rule called the at, on, in rule. It isn't an official rule or anything. It's just my term for it, the at, on, in rule. I just club these three together and I call it the at, on, in rule. What the rule is a chart actually. It's a little mental map that my students often memorize, and it helps them to make sentences without any mistakes. Let's observe. So let's make that chart, shall we? Under at, I'm going to draw an arrow and write exact time. Now I move ahead to on. I draw an arrow here as well, and I write less than or equal to 24 hours. Coming to in, I'm going to draw an arrow here as well, and now I'm going to write greater than 24 hours. There you go. Now this is all you need to memorize. If you can, trust me, it's going to make your journey of prepositions a whole lot easier, and I'm going to prove that with the help of some examples now. Let's begin with at again. Under at, I have mentioned exact time. Now what is exact time? It is any time, any reference in time which you can point at exactly with the help of your watch or clock, such as 5 o'clock, 6:30, 10 a.m., 12:30, and so on. Please note that AM and PM do not matter here. Now, whenever you're formulating a sentence which requires the mention of an exact time, please be sure to use the preposition at. Let's take some examples. I'm meeting Sarah at 5. The game begun at 6:30. We watched a movie yesterday which started at 10. We're going for a game on Friday afternoon at 12:30. So you see, all my sentences required the mentioning of an exact time, which is why I accompanied them with the preposition on. Now I move on to on. As you can see, the time frame reference over here is less than or equal to 24 hours. Let's first discuss what is less than 24 hours. Less than 24 hours can be any quarter of the day. So when I use the name of any day of the week in conjunction with the quarter of the day, I'm going to use on. Let me simplify that with an example. For example, let's take the day, any day of the week, for instance, Wednesday, right? Wednesday, and the quarter of the day being afternoon. So Wednesday afternoon, we'll use on in the sentence. Tuesday evening, Sunday morning, and so on, right? We had a great lunch on Wednesday afternoon, right? I was feeling unwell on Tuesday evening. I go for a run on Sunday mornings, and so on. So these are your less than 24 hours time frame references. Coming to equal to 24 hours, as you might have guessed, equal to 24 hours are all your days and your dates. Now, whenever I need to mention a date or the name of a day of the week in my sentence, I'm going to utilize the preposition on again. For example, we had a great time on Tuesday. We went for a hike on the 30th of last month, on the 30th, right? I think we'll go for a movie on 23rd of this month. So again, on. Coming back to some day, right? On Tuesday, we will be having an extra lecture at college. So since I mentioned a day, Tuesday, I have used on. So in a nutshell, guys, for less than 24-hour or equal to 24-hour time frame reference, we're going to use on, and the things that fall under this are your quarters of the day, such as Wednesday morning, Tuesday evening, and the like. And you've got your days here and dates, such as his birthday falls on the 3rd of April, and on Tuesday we had a great time together. There you go. I hope we're following so far. Let's move on to in. Now, in requires you to use time frame references which are greater than 24 hours. So when you think of greater than 24 hours, what do you think of? I guess you're on the same page as with me. You've got weeks, you've got months, you've got years, centuries, and so on. Right? Let's take some sentences here as well, some examples to clarify this. Talking about weeks, right? Your car will be ready in 2 weeks. Suppose you've given your car to a body shop for repair, and the guy tells you that your car will be ready in 2 weeks. So that's your weeks. Coming to months, right? His birthday falls in April. So in April. And then coming to years, right? She was born in 1995. They're going to launch a new product in 2018, and so on. And finally, century. There were no cars or computers in the 16th century. In the 16th century. So all these time frames are far greater than 24 hours. You've got your week, which is 24 into 7 hours. Your month is 30 or 31 into 24 hours. You've got your years, around 365 into 24 hours. And since this is not a maths lecture, I'll shut up and move on. All right. So we covered our rule here. This is the entire at-on rule, friends. So I hope you got a good grasp of this. But there are some caveats here indeed. There are 2 exceptions to this rule. And you'll be like, oh, bummer, there come the exceptions. Don't worry, there are only 2 exceptions. You do not have to memorize much. Right? The only exceptions to this rule are, and let me repeat, 99% of the times this rule will serve you very well. It'll be a very good obedient servant, if you will, right? But there are 2 exceptions to this. You've got festivals, and you've got your weekends. Now, if you think of a festival, how long does a general festival last? It lasts, yes, you're right, it lasts for 24 hours. So if it lasts for 24 hours, according to this rule, it should fall under on. Sadly, it does not. This is something that you have to memorize, all right? Whenever you're mentioning a festival, please make sure that you use the preposition at, right? Same goes for weekends, right? Weekends are how long? Weekends are generally 48 hours long. You club in your Saturday, you club in your Sunday, and you've got your weekend. 48 hours qualifies under greater than 24 hours, so technically a weekend should be using in, but that too, according to English grammar, uses at. Just the way it is, strangely, right? So let's take some examples here, right? Festivals, right? We're going to burst a lot of crackers at Diwali. Don't go by that. So that's not a suggestion, by the way. Care for the environment. That's just a sentence, okay? Right? I'm going to get a new bike at Christmas. Right? So Christmas, Diwali, although 24 hours, but still we're using the preposition at. All right? At Thanksgiving, we had a splendid turkey. So there you go again, at Thanksgiving. Festivals covered here, that's one exception. Now we come to weekends, like I said, that's 48 hours. Still go with the preposition at, right? We're going to have a lot of fun at the weekend, right? We went skiing at the weekend. I think I'll go for a movie at the weekend, and so on, right? But often, correct English always hits your ear, as does the wrong one, right? So you might be wondering, hey, I've heard people say on the weekend too. So is this guy not telling me the right thing, or is something wrong with my knowledge? Well, let me put your mind at ease there. Neither of us are wrong. At the weekend, when I club at with weekends, at the weekend is the rule that British English follows, right? According to the grammar in British English, you use at with weekends, whereas American English utilizes on with weekends. So if you hear somebody saying on the weekends, probably they're not wrong, but maybe they're American, or you're watching an American show or an American movie or something like that. If an American person speaks on the weekend, they're not wrong, they're just following the American grammar, whereas at the weekend is what any British person would say to you. That. So I think, guys, this comfortably covers the entire at-on rule. You just need to memorize it. There's nothing much to it. Just go with the symbols. You've got exact time under at, less than or equal to 24 hours under on, and greater than 24 hours under in, with only two exceptions. That's festivals and weekends. So folks, with that, we come to the end of this lecture. I hope you could understand everything that I explained, and I hope I did justice to the subject. If there are any queries, please mention them in the comments below. Until then, please stay tuned to the channel. Thank you for watching. Have a great time. We'll be back with part 2 of prepositions with more elaborate ones. Till then, take care and thanks for watching.